Going to give everybody just 1 minute to get into the meeting. See, we are adding attendees now. It's great to have everyone out with us this afternoon. I hope everyone is staying well, healthy at home during these unprecedented times. We appreciate you joining this afternoon, joining us for another what we call Business as Unusual webinar. We've had a host of these now, trying to do 1 to 2 per week with many of our partners that are also sharing many great lessons and trainings right now to help us kind of sort through these difficult business times for sure. We've had several sessions on from dealing with unemployment issues as an employer to dealing with how to stay healthy during this time if you're an essential employer and what kind of social distancing aspects you need to have. We've talked about retail in the digital economy using e-commerce, and so we're excited to be here today talking about Google Analytics and data and how to use that to drive your business growth and drive traffic to your website and get top listings on Google, all those good things. So we're glad you're able to join us today. We got a process we'll go through today. One of those will be if you've got questions, we'd like for you to add those in the bottom. There's a Q&A feature. You can just click that if you're joining us here on Zoom. We're also streaming live to Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, you have a question as you go along, feel free to put that in the comments on the Facebook video. We'll try to grab those. If not, we'll get to them afterwards. But put it in the Q&A. We'll do our best to answer those. If we get through the written questions, there's an option that you can raise your hand as an attendee. We can unmute you and allow you to share some conversation, a discussion, a question that you may have. If we get time to do that, we'll do that right at the end of the session. So I'm going to turn it over at this point. I'll say all the sessions we've had to this point have been recorded, documented. All the resources are available on our website, there'safuture.org/business-as-unusual. Or you can just go to there'safuture.org, and at the top right, there's a button you can hit that says Business as Unusual. So we invite you to do that. Check out the old ones. This will be recorded as well and posted up there, and you'll be able to capture it going into the future and refer back to it. We'll try to get the presentation up there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Jones. He's our Director of Business Innovation at SOAR, leads a team that supports building a culture of entrepreneurship in Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia, Kentucky, and as a team of people that are supporting many business owners through this unprecedented time to find funding to say, is this a time that I can continue to grow my business? And so I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, let him intro our speaker for today.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us on the Zoom call, as well as on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, we encourage you to click share and leave some comments in there for us as well, and ask some questions as we move along. We know things are a bit strange right now and tough during these unprecedented times. A lot of us at SOAR, we're entrepreneurs as well, so we're feeling some of those same effects in our own businesses. So we know what you're going through. I wanted you to know that we have a team of business and innovation champions spread across our 54 county footprint that can be here to assist you during these times, to help you reimagine your business, or if you are in need of support with your strategy moving forward with your company. And thank you to the support for the Cabinet for Economic Development. All of our services that we offer to any business is free. So we encourage you to go to our website at soarinnovation.tech. You can see the list of all of our business and innovation champions throughout our Appalachian counties, which we have 5. And then my name is Ryan. I'm the Director of SOAR Innovation. And I wanted to give a shout out to Jeffrey Justice. He is also a panelist on the call. He is our business and innovation champion that's based here in Pikeville, that also has an office at BitSource, but we were working remotely at the time. But he's based out of Pikeville and covers some counties surrounding Pike County. So if you're in the area, he is here to assist you. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a really good friend of mine, as well as the Chief Operating Officer of BitSource, Payton May. Payton is a native of Pikeville and has been with BitSource since the very beginning in 2014, when Lynn Parrish and Rusty Justice were starting the company. They're a software development company based in Pikeville, building customized software, but also other innovative products right here in Appalachia. They're really a testament of what can be achieved here in Eastern Kentucky through leveraging technology, as well as accessing a customer, outside of the region. A lot of their customers are not based in Appalachia and Eastern Kentucky. A lot of their customers are all over the nation. And there's a lot of what we're trying to preach at SOAR is, hey, what if we started a company and found a customer outside of the region, more exports, and using technology to grow. Payton is also an entrepreneur as well, and has founded several companies over the last few years. And today, Payton is going to walk us through Google Analytics and touch a little bit on Google AdWords as well. So without further ado, Payton May.
Well, hey, it's good to be here and get to share this information with you guys today. The Grow with Google initiative is a pretty cool thing. I don't know how many of you have seen the BitSource video that got created a couple years ago, but that was part of the Grow with Google initiative. And then we got invited out to California a couple times to participate in some of their events. One was a Google My Business event. And the case study that's included in this training today, we had the privilege of meeting this mother and daughter, and they had a really cool story for how they leverage Google Analytics to grow their business. So we're going to get into some of that today. So at a high level, this is a really introductory view of Google Analytics. I'm sure a lot of you will have some deeper questions about search engine optimization and AdWords and, driving customers down sales funnels for conversion. And so this doesn't necessarily get that deep, but we're happy to, answer questions further after this and get into some of those questions at the end of this call. And as Ryan mentioned, we're a software development company doing mobile applications, web solutions. And as part of that ecosystem, we set up analytics, we do a few AdWord campaigns, and we do a little bit of social media marketing. And I'm happy to share some case studies on that afterwards. But our depth in Google Analytics, AdWords, and SEO is, at a different level than someone who is a professional in those specific areas. So let's get started. Data makes your briefcase heavy, insights make you rich. So the idea is that there is a ton of information available to us today. We're not at all limited by the amount of data that we have. That's one of the things that Google Analytics proves. As you set this up with your website, you're going to start to see a tremendous amount of information. And the challenge becomes deriving value from that information to create a business opportunity. So to unlock new opportunities, true insights must be novel, credible, and actionable. And what is meant by that is that if you were to ask 100 different people to derive an insight from analytics, they'd all give you a different answers. So insights are based on data, and they have to be credible and actionable enough for you to unlock opportunities from them. And an insight should be able to inspire action if it's going to be useful. So this is the mother and daughter that I was telling you about, Tracy and Danny. And they created a cupcake company. And, they had a physical brick and mortar location, and they started to get a ton of shipping requests. And so the challenge that they had was, how do we keep our cupcakes fresh and meet this demand? And so their novel idea was, well, let's put them in jars and let's layer this our cake mixture and frosting mixture in such a way that we can ship them in jars. And so what they found is that helped them maintain freshness and the composition of their cupcakes for 10 days, and it kind of just took off. They got on Shark Tank in 2013 and presented in front of 10 million viewers. And then today they're still making cupcakes from scratch and not using any mixes or anything. And so they're the company that we're going to look at as we go through this data journey today to see how they reach their goals. Sorry, I've got a couple screens going here, so I'm a little bit flubbered. So using gut instincts, this is kind of like this idea of if you use just gut instincts, you're going to miss out on using true data and deriving actual insights. So this is kind of a hypothetical scenario, but it says they experimented with a new recipe, loved it, and immediately added it to the menu. Cut prices when sales were down and assumed the target audience was 35 to 54. So as they started to use Google Analytics, one of the key things that they started to derive was that their target audience was actually 25 to 34. So immediately they were able to use data to gain an insight to adjust their marketing strategy. Another example, just because you think an idea is good, say create a new recipe and you loved it, doesn't necessarily mean it should be added to the menu immediately. So if you're able to use Google reviews to derive how your customers react to, say, a seasonal product or a new recipe, you can use those insights to make better informed decisions. And then this third one here, cut prices when sales were down, that's a kind of like gut instinct to do, right? Sales are down, let's make everything cheaper. But maybe using insights, you say, well, let's diversify. Let's add a new flavor, or let's maybe create a different type of promotion that can be leveraged into more sales. So these are 3 examples of how to use data to make informed decisions. All right, using data. Data equals facts or statistics to reference. Analytics equals patterns and trends, and insights equal actionable value. So data is info you obtain from users, like demographic info, behavior, and activity. If you use analytics, you've seen that there is a very robust amount of that type of information. And then analytics are patterns and trends that you discover in that data that you're able to use to derive meaning and insights. And then to further describe insights, this is value gained from data and analytics. And again, like we said in the beginning, they should be actionable. So for an example, data shows you how many visits you've had in the past 30 days. Let's say that number's 1,500. And analytics show you that 30% accessed your site from mobile devices. And then insights might be that it's revealed that visitors who use those mobile devices were 60% more likely to convert. So you start to get an idea for how data and analytics drive insights, and then how insights drive conversions and sales, which is, what we're usually about, some type of conversion based on our strategy, our service, or our product that we're trying to drive a consumer to. So if you're new to data and analytics, a lot of the reports in Google Analytics can be maybe overwhelming. So the next part is to look at data to help make decisions instead of relying on gut instinct, and using tools within Google Analytics to see patterns. And before you sort of dive into the reporting in Google Analytics, it's good to identify goals and make sure we're asking the right questions. So outline your goals. What are we trying to achieve? And then ask questions. What answers do we need? And view reports. How can you find the answers? So first, outline goals, the customer actions you care about the most. And then what outcomes do you want? Like, what do you want to improve? So one example might be to increase that 1,500 person site traffic by some certain percent that you defined. And then, what questions do you need to ask? What info do you need to achieve those goals? So the questions we ask about offline advertising campaigns often apply to online too. So if you are familiar with more traditional means of advertising, those things can relate to online advertising as well. And, consider those questions that you would typically ask when considering online. And then third, determine which tools and reports can help you get answers. So step 1, outline goals. So goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. And Google has this idea of a SMART framework, S-M-A-R-T. Is the goal specific and detailed? Can you track this goal? How will you measure it? How will you know when you've accomplished it? Is the goal realistically attainable? Will this goal help you reach your business goals? Is it relevant to your business? And when do you want to achieve this goal? Set a time frame. So the goal that Tracy and Danny set was decrease shopping cart abandonment rate to under 60%. So they set this goal and they used analytics to find out when users were adding a package to the cart over a period of time. And then they compared that number to total transactions during the same time period to measure their cart abandonment rate. As the time went on, they made modifications to the checkout process to decrease that number. With each incremental change, they reviewed those numbers to see the effect. Ultimately, they were able to drive cart abandonment rate to 45%. So different sites have different goals, online orders or lead generation, engagement, etc. I think a lot of you on the call today are nonprofits. So, it may be that you're trying to acquire volunteers, or you have certain services or programs that you offer that you're trying to reach a certain audience with. So you can start to imagine some of these tactics in setting goals in that regard. If I want to get volunteers, or I want to share programs or services, when is my sort of target user coming to the site? How are they behaving on the site? Are they consuming my service or my program? And how do I sort of monitor that process? So this is an activity. Map out a SMART goal. Find the SMART. So I guess this is the part I was asking about, Ryan. Do they have this handout, or would this be provided later?
We can provide this later when we send the follow-up email.
Okay, so we'll just go ahead and go to the next bit here, which is ask questions. So you've defined the goals, and we can consider what questions to ask to meet them. And we'll look at examples of that now. Reach, engage, convert, and sustain. So who's the audience? How do you reach them? Can they find answers? Do leads become customers? And are people turning into loyal customers? So this framework represents stages of a business relationship with a customer, or use the word customer loosely here. If you're a nonprofit, you're not necessarily selling anything, but you have a service or a program. So you ask the questions and use answers to move customers through stages. So you reach the customers with methods like advertising or organic search, social media, and offline promotions. I'm sure most of you are using a social media platform at this time to share information about your organization, your product, or your service. And this is a common means for reaching a customer and your current customers, and then growing that as well. Okay, so after a customer arrives at the website, then you need to engage them. So what are they looking for, and are they finding what they're looking for? And then conversion. How long does it take for someone to take the action that you're trying to get them to take to convert? These are all things that you can use Google Analytics to better understand, define, and then use that actionable kind of intelligence to derive insights and take action. And then, long-term, you want to be able to, sustain those customers and build loyal relationships. Reach questions might be, how do my customers find me? Engage questions can be something like, what do they look at and engage with on the site? Convert questions, do visitors become customers? And sustain questions ask, do my customers return? So we'll be coming back to these phases throughout the presentation as well. So reach. Reach, think of reach as the people you want to visit your website and become your customers. Reach questions help you understand brand recognition and awareness and how people find you online. So back to, Tracy and Danny, if they had a goal that was, let's say, Wicked Cupcakes wanted to establish a new goal of increasing online orders to 10% this month, they might ask, how do people find me online? If customers can't find a business online, then they can't place online orders. So ask, what other reach questions might they ask? Engage. Engage questions involve discovering how or if people who find you interact with your site. Do they navigate to more than one page of your website? Do they watch videos? Do they search for things on your site? Do they download PDF spec sheets? Do they look at your menu? And then ask, what other engage questions could you be asking? So Google Analytics definitely shows you a deep content breakdown on how users engage with your content, all the way from pages to specific articles. You can kind of see as much information as you want on how a user spends time on your site. And then you're kind of challenged with, how do I derive value from that? How do I reduce my bounce rate, keep them on the site longer, move them through the channel and the sort of pipeline that I want to. Conversion. So this turns the visitors into, a paying customer if you're selling a product or a service, or maybe acquires you a volunteer or participant in a program. So once people find you online, do they take further action? Do they purchase? Do they sign up for a newsletter or schedule an appointment? Whatever that goal is that you've set, are people doing that? And so Wicked Cupcakes might ask, like, how many online orders did I receive last month? And then they can continue to ask convert questions around that question. So next is sustain. Sustain turns customers into loyal customers that can continue to interact with your business. The sustain questions help you understand what customers say about you online. Do they like your products and services? What they wish you did better, etc. Customer influencer. To meet Wicked Good Cupcakes goals, they might ask, what are people saying about my business online? So this kind of came in this example of, is a seasonal cupcake flavor something that's effective? This is a good way to use Google reviews when you're managing products to see how customers are engaging with your product or service, and then if you need to adapt based on that feedback. And of course, Google's not the only channel you'll be getting feedback from. If you're using, social media, or you have some type of commenting system on your website, those would be ways that you'll be getting that feedback from customers as well. Or if you set up a custom form and use a newsletter to kind of drive customer interaction, you may be seeing that on Google Analytics. View reports. So this is the third part. So you've got your goals kind of defined. You understand the questions that you need to ask, and then what reports are available to us in Google Analytics to now better understand what we've set as our goals to answer these questions that we have. So, of course, Google Analytics is free. You use this to understand customers' demographics, gender, and interest. And if your site is meeting expectations, you can see how customers find your site from organic traffic. You can see, all the referrals. Are they coming from social media? Are they coming from Google or Bing or Yahoo? What search engine are they utilizing? And this gets even deeper in terms of what devices they're using, which is just great information. And there's a ton there to derive value from. So in the reporting section, so the types of insights: real time, what's happening right now; conversions, is the website successful; audience, who visits the website; acquisition, where do they come from; and then behavior. So those are all kind of things we just touched on. Real time shows the impact of marketing efforts in real time, which can be really helpful if you've set an ad campaign up in AdWords or in Facebook or any other social media platform to see the effects of user traffic from those efforts. The conversion reports shows you the completion of activity that's important to the success of your business or service, and such as a sign up for your email newsletter or a purchase. So you can create these channels and then, you know, watch how users journey through those channels and measure if they're effective or not. Audience reports provide insights into characteristics of your users, like demographics, interests, geography, language, and behavior, as well as technology and devices. That's one thing that's really important to us here at BitSource whenever we're developing a solution for somebody. If they have previous analytics, we'll look and see what their users, most common device type is, operating system or browser, to start to help them understand who their user base is and where they should, most likely spend their funds when they're building a solution. So that's the way that as a software development company, we use analytics to inform ourselves, not so much on, the sales for a product or service driven business, but in terms of catering to a particular user base. Acquisition reports provide a window on your user's acquisition behavior, and they use this ABC cycle terminology, which is just acquisition, behavior, and conversion, which gets at how you acquire users, how they behave on their site, and then on your site, and then what the conversion patterns are. And behavior reports tell you how behavior varies between the new and returning users of your website. So this is something where you might see, okay, someone comes and they just view my homepage and about page, and they sort of bounce between these two things and they're not recurring. Now, a return customer might be going much deeper into your website. If you have, much more in-depth explainer materials or PDFs that are, say, 3 pages deep on your website, you can start to see how your return users are going deeper with your brand. Let's see. So what's happening right now? Real time shows the impact of marketing efforts in real time. We kind of touched on that. But here are a few highlights on how you can use real time. You can determine if new and changed site content is being viewed. You can determine if a one-day promotion drives traffic and which pages are viewed due to that traffic. And then monitor immediate effects on site traffic from a blog or social post, and monitor goal completions as you test site changes. And then the example that's given here in Wicked Good Cupcakes business model, when they appeared on Shark Tank, they were able to then, of course, immediately see the drive to their site from that huge media attention, as well as their other TV and radio appearances. So you could start to see, when you invest your time in some of these other media investments or outlets or interviews, how that's affecting traffic on your site and if that traffic is driving sales. So you can start to see how this is really robust. It's more than just your website and users coming to your website. It's everything that you're doing around your business to promote it and support it, and then being able to measure the effectiveness of that. So you can start to see how analytics is a really powerful tool if you learn how to use it. Next is the website successful. So conversion report, which is a completion of important business activities like a purchase or lead. You can use reports to see how all your channels work together toward conversions. So again, if you're using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you're making these informed decisions about what channels you're using based on your current audience that you already have, or an audience that you want to grow, then as you spend marketing efforts across these various channels, you can start to see which ones are having the most effect. and where you want to continue to invest your resources, your money, and your time to try and drive customer interaction. So Wicked Good Cupcakes uses conversion reports quite a bit. When making a change to cider products, they want to make sure it has a positive effect on conversions. They don't want to guess or make gut instincts rather than insightful based decisions. They grab a report for a recent period, make the change on our site. Then they see how that change affects or doesn't affect the conversion percentage. So, Wicked Good Cupcakes is a really great example of making really data-driven decisions to drive conversion. And you're seeing this, in their conversion rate, close to 15%, 37,000 transactions. You can see the revenue related to that, the average order value, and then unique purchases. And you can see where their sources are. So obviously, organic Google search revenue is really great. And then you can see the others as well. So if they've invested in their Facebook social media and their marketing strategy there, you can see the revenue associated with that referral and how much impact that's actually having towards their business and their sales. Audience, who visits your website. So this gets back to where they assumed that, their target audience was a little bit older than what it actually was. And then that helped them redefine their marketing strategy. So these are quick, high-level things that you'll see in analytics as just, a gender designation on percentage and then age breakouts. And I think, this helps you make informed decisions about what social media channels you're using as well, and then to understand your customers and audience a bit more. And as you see over here on the left, there's interest as well. So you'll even start to see the various things that your audience is interested in. So if you want to post specific types of content, you'll know what's relevant to your specific audience. Additionally here, where do customers come from? So I think you've probably gotten a good view on this idea of acquisition and how we're able to see, is our AdWords campaign or our, Facebook campaign the thing that is driving our sales and conversion, and then seeing which campaign has the most effect based on this user's sessions, revenue, transaction, the order value, and the conversion rate. Next, what do people do on the site? I really like this section on Google Analytics because it shows, the behavior flow. It really gives you an idea of when people enter the site, what they do next on their first, second, and third interactions. So the longer, of course, you can keep someone on your site, depending on your objective, that's better. The more they're interacting with your content, the more value they're deriving from it. And this is a way to really help map that activity, see what path people are taking, and then, maybe alter some of the ways your site's organized to help them better navigate the way that you might like them to. So navigate reports in Google Analytics. Let's see. And this is the other part. You guys are going to provide this demo information and stuff too, right, Ryan?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so if you don't already have Google Analytics, then this is a way to start to interact with it to see data. If you do have a live site and have analytics already, you won't have to use the demo account, and you can use some other free resources, from Google Analytics to start to look at your data and derive value from it. We're at the recap now. So now that we've got our goals, we've identified what questions to ask. Then we know how to sort of choose our tools that we're going to use in Google Analytics to see if those questions have been answered or how they've been answered. And then we're going to be able to measure those results and then take action. So here's a link for more free online tools. And I think that's the end of this resource. And then, I can jump into a few of the questions that have already been asked, or just show a little bit of an analytics view on another window. I might just do that real quick.
I'll show some analytics view, and I'll just do a quick reminder. If you have questions, please put those in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to upvote those and really comment from one another on those. But we'll do our best to answer them live. So any questions, post them there while Peyton's kind of walking through a live view here of Google Analytics.
So I guess you can see my screen at the moment, right? The Firefox view. Okay. So this is actually Mountaintop Media, and they've just been running this new Google Analytics ID since February. And I pulled this one up just because of the amount of users that they have and the amount of sessions and page views. They get a lot of traffic with their content. And let's see here if we can see acquisition. We'll see that, primarily their acquisition social, which everyone here knows that Facebook in our region is the most commonly used social media platform. And so they're reaching their users via Facebook and then bringing them, to the site that way. So it's really powerful to see the numbers based on, which platform is delivering the audience and where, investments being made in terms of the social media efforts and how you might want to diversify that. So, locally as, potential ad buy, they obviously have a huge regional audience that's pretty powerful, and getting in sort of a deeper view on site content. I think this is cool. So, like we said in the presentation, you can see all the way down to a specific page or a specific piece of content, what's really trending. So this should be relevant for people who are, in the region with the train derail. That was one of the highest traffic articles. And then of course, stimulus checks are now appearing in bank accounts as, extremely high at 66,000. And then the real-time overview, since we talked about that, this is showing you, live what's going on, what content's active, who's reading what. So again, just really robust amount of information to make really quick, insightful decisions from. And then let's see their behavior flow. So you saw on the homepage that, on average users look at 2 pages. So I mean, for them, since everyone's coming from Facebook on one article, that's pretty good. That means that most often they're going and viewing at least one more article. So that might be a goal that they set, is let's try and get a user to, look at 3 pages or 4 pages. And that's something that is an easy goal to set and an easy goal to measure. And then finding ways to do that via the website might be where, Mountaintop and BitSource would work together to craft some visualization mechanism that really drives a user to a related article or to go deeper on the site. Are there any specific questions coming in yet?
We don't have any written questions yet.
Okay.
If anybody has a question you'd like to share, you can raise your hand and we'll turn you on. We've also got Kyle Smith and the group from SCED. Glad to have you guys on here. They do a lot of great work. Amanda Kelly. They've got Be Boss Online, a great program that kind of digs into this deeper too. So anybody that has anything else you'd like to share, comments, thoughts, questions, raise your hand and we'll turn you loose.
I'll go ahead and, oh, sorry. I can go ahead and demo another piece here. I know we had some questions from Laura's Mercantile coming in, but I think this is a good way to just show people, when you're working on search engine optimization and you're looking at meta tags, if you can see this page here and we just do a find for meta, and you start to see the way Google's search engine starts to read site information to classify this page for users. So, full spectrum CBD oil from USDA certified organic, hemp grown at Mount Folly Farm by Laura Freeman. And then you see some additional information there. So that's really one of the first things that that Google then would be looking at. So full spectrum CBD oil, USDA certified organic hemp, Mount Folly Farm, Laura Freeman, all these kind of keywords that a user might be typing in a search engine would then potentially, based on region and area as well, because Google takes that into account, trigger the page ranking, for a certain page. So that's just a quick look at, how you can see how your metadata is structured on your site by just right clicking and saying view page source. But yeah, I don't necessarily have anything.
If you want to hit some of those questions that she sent maybe before the webinar, Payton.
Okay. One was, what factors impact SEO as a revenue channel? I was just going to ask for that to be a little bit more refined. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Of course, SEO is going to drive effectiveness of the search engine to sort of rank your page, right? So the better optimized your site is for users to find information that they're looking for, then hopefully if your site's set up well in terms of its conversion sort of methods, then revenue would increase based on higher visibility and servability from Google. The second question was, how can you determine if Google ads are revenue factors if the ads aren't directly related to a revenue channel? So again, a little bit more specifics may be needed here. If you're doing a more generalized campaign that isn't directly related to a product or service that you're selling, I would just say, has traffic increased during that campaign period? And then how did that traffic increase relate to conversion? So were you able to drive that traffic down your sales pipeline and achieve conversion or not? The third question was, is there an available, oh, sorry, that's probably not relevant here. How can you understand Google's algorithm that determines a company's placement on Google search? If you do a quick just Google search, and I can send a link out on sort of Google's algorithm for SEO, there's a ton of resources out there to read through, and it's as broad and deep as you can sort of imagine there. And they don't necessarily expose their algorithm, right? I mean, that's, I guess, what makes Google Google. But they will give you insight on metadata and structured tagging, and then linking between sites. But there's a lot of robust stuff going on there, but a lot of good resources provided by Google to get your site as healthy as it can be. And there's a lot of tools out there too, which I can share with you later through SOAR for measuring your current search engine optimization kind of statistics and where you rank based on certain keywords. So there's some resources like that you could definitely take advantage of to get a feel of the current sort of vitality of your site. But those were all the questions that were provided.
We've got one that came in via Zoom written, how effective can this be for nonprofits? And I'll just share, being an executive director at SOAR and the work that we do, it's all about what your goals are. If your goals are tied to, if you're trying to communicate a message out, one, you can see what traffic flow is like. You can also see what people are interested in as it relates to whatever your mission is and what pages are they going to. If your target audience is fundraising, if you want to trying to get donations via your website, you can track that and see are people going to that page? Are lots of people getting to that page and then not following through, not converting to actually, giving money, or they're never finding that page? There's so much detail and information that you can get from that. Maybe you're a membership-based organization, or maybe you have events or a calendar you promote online. So I think, nonprofit can be a bit broad, but if people are going to find out anything about you in today's day and time, it's going to be via your website. So this kind of data, followed up with the analytics, can tell you what's happening there, and then you can hopefully use those insights that you get from that to make changes. That hopefully increases your impact as a nonprofit. You've got a mission, and so this gives you the tools to make good decisions, make sure you're communicating effectively. Any other written questions?
And then I will just add to that too. I think a lot of nonprofits are, taking donations or have event registrations or volunteer applications. So especially on the donation side, that's a very tangible way to see how a campaign relates to a conversion flow on, is someone compelled by a certain social media campaign I've put out there, and did that turn into them donating to my mission, organization, or cause.
We got Doug Crowdis with his hand raised. So I'm gonna, hey Doug, I got you unmuted. You got a question for us? What? Nope. Let's see. You've got yourself muted, Doug, if you want to unmute yourself. All right, you're unmuted now. Got a question? Might be having a little technical difficulty here. Doug? All right, we're going to move on.
Got another question in the chat function. How has BitSource utilized Google AdWords to make decisions, or Google Analytics to make decisions?
So I spoke to this a little bit earlier, one example being to look at our clients' analytics to understand, device usage and operating system when they're trying to strategize on how best to, spend their and utilize their resources. I would think, obviously, mobile, everything trends towards mobile traffic. Sometimes that's not the case depending on the product. So we have definitely used, devices a lot, as well as operating system and browsers to make decisions. And then, I was showing Mountaintop Media's Google Analytics there. And, one of the things that we're going to be doing here shortly is creating some documentation that really helps them demonstrate their traffic and user engagement around content. So it's really specific to the client. So you can see the difference there between BitSource as a software development provider. We're looking at devices, operating systems, and then some of like server side information that maybe we're not getting from analytics, but another resource. For Mountaintop Media, we're looking at it from a sales perspective. How can we utilize this data to help them show their customers how much traffic they're getting and how valuable placement on their platform is? And then I had another example, but it just escaped me. So
I got Douglas Jones, his hand raised, getting ready to. You're unmuted, Douglas Jones. You got a comment? Seem to be having a little bit of problems there.
If everybody has access to the chat and wants to type something in there too. That might be another means if there's an audio issue.
Yep, not having much luck. Any other top questions or thoughts as we get ready to wrap up here? I'll share as a quick closing. Just share our website that I mentioned earlier. There's a future.org/business as unusual. This is that site. As you scroll down here, you can see upcoming events, and we got a couple more we're getting ready to add on. That'll be in the next couple of weeks. Next week, next Thursday, we're having one with Ryan Hall, who has about 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, has made a pretty good business out of it from right here in Eastern Kentucky. Going to be kind of walking through leveraging YouTube and making money on YouTube. Then you can see all our past events here. They're all archived. Retail in the Digital Economy, for example. You can go watch the entire webinar and also have his presentation there. There was a good one earlier this week with the Holler Creative about social media and digital marketing. Sked's BBoss Online and Startup Space Training that we talked about. They've got a lot of great online programs. And so you can find, we're trying to archive as much good stuff happening in the region there. This is last week's or Tuesday's webinar. Here, if you've got a story, if you've found a way or you know a company that's doing incredible things right now, we're trying to share as much of that as we can. Companies, nonprofits that are finding innovative ways to continue on during this trying time. We'd love to hear about those so we can get the word out and promote you guys. And then here's a link if you're looking for one-on-one support and guidance, connection to resources. This is our entire team here, and you can reach out and contact. They've got their territories by county, so just reach out to your business innovation champion, and they can walk you through. And if they don't know the answer, one thing we try to do is be committed to finding the answer. So please, let's see, we might have one more. Yeah, so an educational school, English immersion in Guatemala. I think that was one of the questions we answered earlier. So yeah, I could see that having a tremendous benefit, understanding where your audience is coming from and what their behaviors are. All this could greatly impact your work, I would imagine. All right, any other questions? I don't see anything in the Q&A. I don't see anything in the chat box. I'll look real quick at Facebook. But any final words, Ryan and Payton?
I would just say that, a lot of the tools that Google offers are free. So be sure to use all the tools that Google has to offer to maximize all the free content you can get from them. It's really valuable to your business. You can learn a lot more about your customers and drive more traffic to your website. And if you need any assistance as far as setting up your Google My Business account, we can help you with that at our office. BitSource is also available to help you if you're in need of getting those things set up as well on Google My Business or Google Analytics, or if you're interested in setting up a Google AdWords campaign, Payton and his team can help you do that as well. But man, thanks for all the content today. I think that was great. Hope that everybody got some value out of it, and we really appreciate it. Any last comments, Payton? What's next for you and BitSource? And do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, thanks to SOAR for putting this on and providing resources continually for the business community out there and for entrepreneurs. And like Ryan mentioned, we're available via phone, email. Go to our website, bitsourceky.com, or reach out to us and we can do a consultation and answer deeper questions that you might have. I'll let you know that the content from Google today is a kind of, really high level view of analytics, and it gets deeper. And like Ryan said, AdWords campaigns is another step, and, we're happy to set up campaigns for people as well, or help you with GMB in addition to, Ryan's team there. So just thanks, and, hope y'all are doing well during this time.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Everybody stay healthy at home. Let us know if you have any questions. Reach out if you have any needs, and keep doing great work. As I finish all these, I like to share one of the best things you can do as an entrepreneur for Appalachia, Kentucky is grow your business. And we try to help provide the resources to do that. And so you're a critical piece of all the work that's happening here. So keep on keeping on. We want to be your champion, fight for you. We want everybody to be winners in this. And together, hopefully we live up to our name and say we're going to shape our Appalachian region. We're creating a future together. So again, check out the resources. Follow up with BitSource if you'd like to. Any of our resource partners, we wish you the best. We're here to support you. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.